Back, back again.
Man, I love that beat. Oh man, jeez.
Yeah, yeah. Really, it puts you in the zone. Uh, the zone. We're finally back in the zone after a few weeks. We wanted to hold off for the Yamamoto nonsense. Our last session was on the 8th, and that was right before Otani and Yamamoto were supposed to be signing, and Otani ended up signing a little bit after that. And then last night, Yamamoto finally signed with the Dodgers. What a, I mean, not a shock, but it's done. I'm glad it's done. The Mets did all they could. They, went to Japan for him. They hosted dinner at Steve's house. They matched, or they didn't match. They had the best offer on the table, and the Dodgers matched it. Not much else you can do on our end. There's just you can only do so much. So, as a Mets fan, you can't really be too disappointed in our effort. You just pick up. I think they should have had a plan already in place uh, if we ended up getting him or not. So this shouldn't really delay anything. If anything, it should expedite what their move is going to be because we've been saying this whole offseason, they have two different routes that they're going to take with Yamamoto and without him, and now they know what their route is going to be moving forward, and I think it opens up a lot of different avenues for them to take. We aren't committing all that money to one player, which I think is a good thing. It allows us to build a team full of different types of players where we can build a nice foundation, and then maybe next year or even this year if they make any trades to start building the top end of the roster. um because I think in the past we've had the opposite. We start off on the top. We get that nice shiny piece, and then we work our way down, and then we never make it to the bottom, and our foundation is nothing.
Crap.
We saw that last year. We saw that. So how are you feeling today after the news last night?
First and foremost, it's two of us today because Bruce got caught up with something, so he sends his best wishes. Sort of, he's a little disappointed, like we are about Yama. Listen, Cohen got played. That's it. I mean, what else are you gonna say? He, we as a team, we're used again, and that's part of the business. You kind of knew that might be a possibility, and it happened. Ultimately, you can't compete with geography. You can't compete with. I think having Otani over there, I think was a huge positive for him to want to go to LA. Being so close to Japan, I mean, and I feel comfortable at least knowing that we sort of definitely didn't, not try A for effort, I guess, but it kind of sucks when what you just said. Cohen, what more do you have to do? He literally, I think the message was sent. He wanted him bad, and he catered to him. He, rolled out the red carpet, and ultimately, at least the Mets weren't for him a choice. New York might have been, the Yankees might have been, but the Yankees didn't want to pony up the extra 25 mil, and that's that. It's over. It's done. So I definitely have to pivot now. Reports are we're not going to go big anymore as far as for the Snells, for the Montgomerys, and all that. Which I do kind of feel a little comfortable because it's kind of scary to know you're going to give someone as older as those two big time deals. I know you don't want to do that either. So on that end, I'm good. But we have huge holes, man. We have so many holes to fill. And I don't. And if you're telling me we're not going to, be as aggressive when it comes to spending, then we're going to have to be very inventive as far as how we're going to get these transactions done, trades. I mean, I don't know. It's we still have probably still missing 2-3 arms within the rotation and also in the bullpen that we haven't filled. So it kind of sucks when you wait off to get someone like Yamamoto. It doesn't happen, and now like reality sets in. Oh, now what?
Yeah, I think that's like you just said. You know, they they have the option to pivot to Snell's and Montgomery, which you know it just doesn't make sense right now. Snell, I don't think Snell's that guy to lead a staff for years to come. You know, he's probably going to be looking uh, for way more than 5 years, which I don't think will be worth it in the long run, especially when you have someone so up and down. I feel like he's like the pitcher version of Bellinger right now. You know, you have
Yeah.
he's either has a 2.25 ERA, Cy Young, or he's horrible. You know, same thing with Bellinger. He's either MVP or he's batting under 200. And the Mets aren't in a position to gamble someone like that. Not right now. So, and then Montgomery's great. I would love to have him, but on this team, he just wouldn't. He wouldn't really make any difference for us right now. Like you said, we have a few pieces that we need to get, and he's if he was a free agent next year in next year's pool, that would be he wouldn't be getting anything close to what he's going to get this offseason because there's so many big names out there next year like Walker Bueller and uh, Sasaki's probably
Wheeler.
going to be available. Zach Wheeler, so there's going to be a lot of tier one starters out there next year. Where Montgomery he's right up there, top three this year. So he's definitely going to he's going to be overpaid for sure. And he
Hmm.
deserves it. I mean, he's consistent, throws a lot of innings, stays healthy. But being over 30, it's probably not somewhere. It's probably not the age range that we want to be at, especially if we don't plan on winning until next year, 2025 at the earliest. So I feel comfortable if they pivot. There's a lot of different names that are being thrown around out there right now. Obviously, the other Japanese pitcher, Shota Imanaga, he's great. He doesn't have the youth that Yamamoto has, but he's a good arm. He's thrown at least 140 innings in 7 of his last 8 seasons, which is great. Consistency and being able to just go out there and consistently pitch day in and day, or every 5 days is what the team really needs and what we haven't had in the past. And then the one year he didn't throw over 140 innings was the COVID year. So, he's been consistent every single year. Um, and he's usually had an ERA under 3. And so in 6 of those 7 years, he had an ERA under 3, which is, you know, if you're performing like that in the Japanese league, then um, it's pretty good sign that they'll be consistent over here as well. Like we've seen with Senga. Senga coming over last year really set the bar for all these pitchers this year and moving forward because they know if Senga did it for us this year, and you know Yamamoto and everyone else who's supposed to be coming is supposed to be better than Senga, then I think he really raised their value for their deals that they're going to be getting. Because I mean, you're looking at Senga's
Yeah.
deal now; it's like 5 years, 75 mil. Like that's unheard of now.
Bargain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what a signing.
Yeah. And kudos to our pitching staff. And I think what the owner invested in, down in Port St. Lucie, in the whole pitching lab thing, and because I think that was a huge plus for Senga, coming over and getting stretched out like he did. And I mean, I thought maybe that was a big reason why Yamamoto would consider the Mets because of that. Because I think that was a big reason why Senga had a good season.
Yeah, it's definitely a different atmosphere for the Japanese pitchers. One, you know, not pitching on a 6 man rotation is huge change, and also different baseball. So I'm sure there's different uh, trainings and things that they do to help them, become the major league pitcher, major league United States pitcher, that they do differently in the Japanese league. I think I read something that once Senga signed over here last year, he refused to touch any Japanese ball with his pitching hand, just to not have that different feel. So I feel like small stuff like that, because pitching, especially when throwing different pitches, it's all feel. So there's I feel like there's a lot of different small things that really go into having that transition and having it successful. But luckily for Yamamoto, he's over there with Shohei, and he just went through that transition a few years ago with the Japanese pitching to United States. So wish him the best.
Good
You
luck.
know, I,
Good
yeah, good
luck.
luck. And what makes me feel good is next year they have another young star coming and is going to be signing another deal. So I think next year it'll really be a showdown. You'll really see the showdown between the Yankees and the Mets, to land Sasaki, because the picture for the Yankees will be a lot more clear. They'll know if they're going to be getting Soto or not, or if they're going to
Hmm.
pull like a Dodgers thing and sign Soto for the long term and defer a lot of it. So I think next year the showdown, the the Subway
That's
Series.
crazy, right? Like that. Yeah. LA's playing chess and everyone's playing checkers. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, they got so
How do
creative.
you?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them. They they are working the system the way it's written. It's there's rules in place, and they're following the rules. There's no max deferred uh, option. There's not no max amount that they can defer. So they did as much as they could, which is insane. I can't believe he's only getting paid 2 mil per season. But I mean, against their cap, it's I think like 46 mil a year, which is still crazy, crazy difference. But
Yeah,
um,
and
it,
people forget too. They have a big ownership group over there in LA. They got a lot of
mm-hmm,
money too.
big time. Yeah, and that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, they Cohen has all the money in the world, but the Dodgers, they have some money too.
They
So
got mad money.
they did what they did,
Obviously.
and even the trade with Glass now, making sure that they were able to extend them to for that trade to go through, I think was really really good, really smart. They The extension that they signed him to, he's worth every penny of that. And if he ends up being healthy for 3 of those years, I mean, looking at the numbers for top of the rotation pitchers now, I mean, healthy, he's the top 5 pitcher in the league. So if he ends up being healthy and doing that, then they really set themselves up big time for the future.
Great.
Um, but you know what? The Dodgers have always had that great rotation. They've always had it year in and year out. This is the first time where they kind of had a depleted rotation. I mean, last year they lost Bueller to injury, and Kershaw was limited. So we'll see how they reset and end up moving forward. But good for them for not taking years off and resetting and saving money.
Right.
They're getting right back after it. So it pushes everyone else in the league to keep moving forward. So I think it's people are saying
Yeah.
it's bad for the game what they're doing, but I think it's good because it keeps the ball rolling. You set new standards, new bar, you raise the bar, then everyone else is they have to raise their own bars. So
Yeah,
I think it's good
yeah.
for the league, and we saw
I
that
rather
with the Mets.
teams. Yeah, I I rather teams in big market put money on the field than in their pockets. To be honest, so
Yeah, yeah, and we saw that with the Mets raising the bar with their payroll, and now everyone's raising the bar with their payroll. So
hmm
you can't knock it. Plus, we're not the. I mean, we are paying for it.
yeah,
With ticket prices and food and
yeah.
stuff.
We're still tops in the league next year in payroll tax. It's us,
Yeah.
the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Imagine that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're paying so much for players that aren't on the team anymore, then I guess it adds up quickly. All right. So I mean, there's a lot of names being floated around for the rotation, and I think you mentioned earlier we have a few spots in the rotation that we need to fill. Uh, I definitely think we need a number one. I don't think we're going to get a number one. You know, I think Snell and Montgomery would be the only two that could be a number one, but like we already mentioned, I don't think we want them. So looking at our team going into the
No, and they're
season,
already reporting that it's highly unlikely
yeah,
for us to do that.
yeah,
Snell, Montgomery, and now they're even. I'm just reading right now. Anthony DeComo said that those two, and also however you say his last name, Shota, also is unlikely for us to go after, which is kind of tough to swallow too.
yeah, and it makes sense. Like I think the Mets are looking at what's available next year at this point. So they're going to have a lot of placeholders in there for now, and hopefully people that could be there for more than 1 year. I would say 1 to 2 years. They'll be signing most of these guys for. And the first guy that comes to mind, which has been thrown around constantly, is Giolito. I
hmm
I'm a fan. I think we should sign him.
I mean, it's a yes for me too.
Yeah, I mean he's coming off of really down year. He was crushing it for the first half of the season. Once he got traded, he tanked horribly.
hmm
But at the end of the day, the guy has over 30 starts every year. He's an innings eater. He's going to go out and and pitch. That's half of our issues. You can have a Degrom and Scherzer and the best rotation in the league, but if they're not pitching for you, then it doesn't mean anything. So I think Giolito, is a must have, and he's only what 29.
Yeah,
So
29, big boy. Yeah.
yeah, so I think he's someone who fits the team perfectly. He's going to try to prove himself. Probably have a 2 year deal, and after that, he's still young enough where he could sign a great deal if he stays healthy and puts up numbers.
hmm Yeah. Who else you got out there? I mean, you've always talked about Cease, but I think we're not being linked to him anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I think the main reason for that is I don't think that the Mets really want to trade prospects for
hmm
someone right now because I mean he is under control for 2 years, so he would. I think the move would be good for that second year, um, but I also think it would be good because we need a true ace, and if he's pitching the way he could, I think he's a true ace. But also, when you look at the deal that was just made for Glass now, I think so. It's weird because Glass now is usually hurt, so that was his big knock, and then Cease is coming off a terrible year. So it's like, they both have their knocks. So I'm wondering what he's actually going to, require to be moved
Right,
because
right,
they
right.
have to be dying to move him. I mean, they have to move him. I mean, they're not
Yeah,
doing anything this year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they already, I think, let that be known that they're open for business.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
maybe I think the best thing for them and for us would be to take on a bad contract. We've seen that a lot. If they send over like Jimenez, Eloy Jimenez, we need a third outfielder. He gets hurt a lot. He has a lot of he has a high upside, but he's also hasn't performed to his expectations. So I
yeah.
think I think
I'll
whoever
take
trades for
Robert too.
Cease, yeah, right. I think he's staying
No
put.
problem. Heck yeah, that guy's a
Yeah,
beast.
he's good. They're definitely building the team around him, which
Hmm.
good for them. Um,
Yeah,
but I think whoever ends up trading for Cease will probably end up getting Jimenez too, because I think they want to unload him and wash their hands with him because he just hasn't
yeah.
performed. Um, so I mean that would be nice because, like I said, we do need another outfielder. Our outfield is I think is low key one of our biggest holes on the team. Obviously, the pitching
Big time.
is yeah. Obviously, our pitching is the biggest hole, especially the relievers and the starters. But that outfield, I look at Nemo, and I think that's the only one I feel okay about. Marte is just you never know where you're going to get if he's going to be
He's a
healthy.
time bomb at this point with his body. Exactly.
Hmm. And especially with someone who relies on his speed so much, you need him to be healthy.
Right.
So and then you look at the third spot. Who do you see playing left field every day right now?
Every day. I mean, the backup is who we just traded for with the Brewers, that kid Taylor. But every day we don't have one. That's why Teoscar's still out there, and I don't know what we're waiting for. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Because
know.
I'm trying to think. What does our everyday lineup look like? You know, we have. It really depends a lot. I think a lot depends on Beatty and Vientos. But let's say they have both of them in the lineup. You have Vientos DH and Beatty at third, or vice versa. Then you have McNeil playing second. Who do you put in left? It's right now we're going into the season with DJ Stewart as our starting left fielder.
Listen,
Ooh,
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say it right now. If Beatty and Vientos are starting, we're in trouble.
yeah, both of them. Yeah, I
At
I
the same
honestly
time, we're in trouble.
yeah. Yeah, I mean unless they just crush it and really surprise us. But I don't
No,
I'm not overly hopeful for that. Um,
me neither.
but but that's the thing. Like we shouldn't be going into the season with with DJ Stewart as our starting left fielder. It's like he did good at the end of last year. He did great, but small sample size, and he's you know being able to repeat that success over
No,
162. That's a whole
yeah,
different ballgame.
he's a solid bench piece. That's it.
Yeah, and when the trade was made for Hauser and Taylor, I'm thinking, all right, we got Taylor is a pretty much Jankowski type. He's great
Right.
defense, can play all three positions in the outfield, steal bags. He has more pop than Jankowski does, but at the end of the
Hmm.
day, he's going to be filling the same role. I don't think
Right.
he's not an everyday starter. And he's a great player, but not someone you pencil in every day.
Hmm.
And I think that's something that we need to establish is we need to have that lineup established every day. This is who our lineup is. We're not going to be pulling people in and out, different lineup every day, doing all these matchups, all this crap. We need people to set. We need to keep McNeil. If we're going to keep McNeil, we're going to keep him in the infield, not move him to left and second and batting second, batting
We have
third,
no
batting
we have no
seventh.
choice now. With Ronnie getting hurt,
Yeah. Well, that really threw a wrench into I think the competition for
That sucked.
Yeah, for second, third, and DH, that kind of threw that out the window. But I mean, now it's like, we've been saying this for months now. What do they do with McNeil? Are they
Gotta
going to
keep him
keep him
now.
on this team?
You have to. You have to now. I mean, what? Do you, I mean, you just mentioned who we. You forgot about Wendell. I mean, you're. I mean, I don't. Oh man, it's it's pretty miserable right now, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, you got so much unknown, and ultimately, you kind of feel like everything's on a standstill too, as far as what the front office is going to end up doing. Um, are they going to at all just spend? I mean, I'm getting the feeling that they might do one or two more moves and then just some low key stuff, and that's it, man. And then just
hmm
kind of just try to do what baseball has been doing for the past couple of years now with just staying afloat, like we mentioned before. Just keep relevant. Don't worry about winning 100 games and winning the division. Just get to August with just being okay, and that's
yeah,
that's you think. And if you think about it too, Mies, like it might be a good thing for us, at least Mets fans, that we're not going to have that high expectation. So if we do have a good season, like a solid season where we sniff the playoffs, that's awesome. But if we go into the season expecting 100 wins again, and then we have what we had last year, forget it. I mean, it makes it that much worse.
yeah. But it's just crappy when they're setting themselves up for failure. At least put
Yeah.
up at least submit a major league lineup.
Effort, right?
Yeah, like having your opening day starter be DJ Stewart or Taylor. That's not a major league lineup.
No, no,
Uh,
man.
in a perfect world, I think we add you know two starters, two starting pitchers, a few relievers, an outfielder. Who could play really anything, left, center, or right. Because then you could just move Nemo over to left, um,
Right.
and then uh, a DH. But am I asking for too much? Am I asking five, six
Apparently,
players, 5, 6 players? That's too much, I guess. But the people are out there is the
apparently,
thing. But the way I look at it, even if we're not looking to make the playoffs and do some damage, even if you sign these guys that are looking for 1, 2 year deals, at least you get half the season. They put up numbers, and then you have a trade piece at the deadline that you could
right,
continue to build that prospect list with, so that
right.
you just stockpile prospects. We did that last year. We had Tommy Pham, who is not anywhere on the level that uh, Teoscar is, but he still brought back prospects. He was still able to flip them for something. So I feel like we
Yeah,
have a Teoscar, if we have someone who can be a difference maker at the deadline for a team that just needs that little push over. Uh, I think we should fill our team with players like that. I think it
yeah,
could go a long way. For one, it'll show the us that they're trying. Two, if things go wrong, then at least you have trade chips. And then three, it's at least you tried. The
it's a win-win.
organization, yeah.
Right,
And it's money. It's just free agents. It's not like they're trading anything for them. So
right.
I think it's something that they definitely have to do, and hopefully they end up looking, because I mean a lot of these guys are looking for 2 year deals. It's nothing crazy, and that sets us up perfectly for the timeline that we're at, especially with our young guys coming up in the future,
Right.
and the guys developing right now. I think the 2 year timeline makes the most sense.
Yeah, find players that want to raise their stock up. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and guys looking to
Hmm.
prove themselves. like a Giolito. He's looking to prove himself. So
Cease.
Cease looking to prove himself. So I think even if you trade for Cease, you give up some guys. If things don't work out, then you flip them again. It's like you don't have to keep them. You could do what the Padres
Yeah.
did and flip him again, but you can get him.
Right.
He can be top end again. He could be, sub 2.5 ERA, and then you can get someone's number one prospect for him. So I think it's worth it to go all in.
So you would say right now, in a perfect world, we would have someone like Giolito, maybe Cease, but let's just say it's Giolito. So the rotation right now, as it stands, if we sign or trade someone like that, you'd have that type of pitcher like Giolito starter, Senga as a second, Quintana third, Severino, or that kid, what is it, Hauser, that we also signed from or
Hauser, yeah,
traded for from the
Brewers.
Brewers. So our rotation, I mean, would be better than what it is now, just with that one addition. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the very minimum they need one guy, and I think Giolito would be a good. I think he would probably. I think he would probably fill in at our number 3, push Severino 4,
Number
and
three.
then yeah, I think so. Because I think they'll want to do the right left right in the
Okay,
rotation,
true. Right. Hmm.
and then Quintana is solid. If he's healthy, he's pretty decent. And then Severino 4 and Hauser 5th. But Hauser or not Hauser, Severino. That's why I think we need the second starting pitcher piece. Is we need a contingent piece for Severino because you figure he's gonna get hurt. You figure he's not giving you 30 plus starts.
Hmm.
So that's why I figure you sign another back end rotation guy, someone like Mike Clevenger. He had some injury issues last year, but he's a decent arm. He's usually he's very mediocre. Sean Mania, the lefty. I think it'd be nice to get
No,
another
I don't want
lefty.
him.
Yeah,
That man, what happened in the Bronx? Forget it, man. That I don't
yeah, yeah.
know.
But change of scenery. Yeah, I just think we need something. And there's people out there. I think the big name that I want for maybe not the rotation, but just to have in the pitching staff, is Rodriguez, the Yadier Rodriguez, the Cuban pitcher. I
Cuban,
think
right?
he, I think he's. I don't know what his market's looking like or what his
He used to be a
years and.
starter, right?
I think he's mainly a reliever, and in the WBC he started and did
He
pretty
did
well.
well. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like I get a lot of like Seth Lugo vibes from him. Like I feel like
Okay.
people are looking at him as a reliever, but he wants to be a starter, and he's just not. He hasn't had the opportunity to fully stretch out as a starter. But
Hmm.
I mean, the guy throws hard. He has good stuff,
Bring him
and he's
in.
Cuban.
Let's
He's
do it.
Cuban. The Cuban players
Even
have
better
done well. Have done well in the league,
for the
and he's
Mets
what?
too.
Yeah, and what is he? 27. He's
Young kid,
right
yeah.
right there. I mean, he could be even if he's not a starter. Having a power arm set up Edwin Diaz, I think would be clutch. I think it would be good.
Oh yeah, I agree.
We haven't had that back end powerhouse setup for a while.
Yeah, we're supposed to have it last year. We would have had the best in baseball,
Yeah. Yep.
but we know what happened. I mean, Robertson, he stepped up to be our number one closer, but imagine Robertson and Diaz, man, that 1-2. Oh man,
Oh, that would have been beautiful.
yeah.
Do you think we'll entertain Robertson coming back?
Um, you're really high on this guy Lopez because of a couple years ago you wanted him. He had a down year last year. I'm with you. I could definitely see him, coming back to what he was 2 years ago. So I'm okay with that. I mean, and it's cool that they're both Puerto Rican, so that'd be cool to have that 1-2.
Yeah.
Um, And I do also feel like they're going to maybe consider. I know Johan Ramirez is also a name out there too, um, that we got. So I think we're going to be surprised with what we signed already as far as depth pieces,
Mhm.
but that is the one thing we're going to end up doing. I think next move is going to be getting that, you know, like you said, second or third starting pitcher that we desperately need bad.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I was just reminded, with Robertson, he was another perfect example of free agent that we signed 1 year. We flipped him for prospects. So I think, when you're looking at players like that, you can't go wrong. Like, I
No.
would stack them up,
Yeah.
because worst comes to worst, you freaking trade up again. Get two prospects out of them. Even getting a low level prospect, you never know what they could turn out to be. Um,
Yeah.
and
So
even
we
if they don't become something, you use them in a trade in the future.
right. Yeah.
Uh,
So we spoke
yeah,
about what relievers. We spoke about DH, outfielders. I know rumors are Justin Turner's out there considering coming to us. JD Martinez has been something that I think we should have signed that guy a long time ago. And again, he's out there for us. So I think those type of moves I think are going to end up being. I don't know why, but I don't think we're going to get Teoscar. I want him, but I don't think
yeah,
it's going to happen. I think that they're not going to give big deals out, not anymore. So I think the JTs of the world, the JDs of the world are going to probably end up being more of our, cup of tea. Eddie Rosario's out there too. I like him. I don't know why. I think he's clutch when he has to be. Eddie.
yeah, yep. I think that's a big
Mm-hmm.
that's been his biggest asset is his clutchness.
Mm-hmm.
He
Ice in
was
his
the guy on the
veins.
Braves.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the guy on the Braves that it's like, oh crap.
saved him.
Yeah, yeah, a few
Remember
times.
in the World Series run? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
some people don't have that, and that's what our team hasn't had in a long time is the person who shows up
right,
when it matters. So yeah, I
lives for the
think
moment.
Rosario would be a good cheap option to add. Another Puerto Rican player, um, which has to help with the clubhouse atmosphere and an aspect of things. I think
Yeah,
Teoscar, like you said, I don't think we'll get him, but I think he'd be a great addition. I also think Whit Merrifield would be a good addition. He's a little bit older. He's 35. But I've always liked him. He's had a lot of decent seasons. He's consistent, usually healthy. He plays outfield, corner outfields, and second base. Uh, I think he'd be a good addition. I don't know. I think we should look at someone like him, especially since what we need is corner outfield and second base. So I think he just adds another layer of depth to kind of pad whatever might happen. So if Marte gets hurt, then he stays in the outfield. If
he has a
if
ring
some
too, right?
Whit Merrifield, well, he was with the Blue Jays for a while, and he was with the Royals. So no, I don't think he
Yeah, was
has.
he wasn't in a 15 team that beat us? No,
No,
right?
no,
Yeah. I'm big on signing people that have rings. I think that that's also something that you a lot of times can't find that leadership, that experience, in the clubhouse, knowing, you're playing with a champion, like people like that, they know what it takes. I think that's always a positive too.
yeah, no. I definitely think that adds a lot to
Hmm.
experience. I think once you experience something like that, I think everything
Once you
else
taste it,
will come easy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know what to
I agree.
expect. You've been there
Right,
before.
right.
Um,
Yeah, man.
but yeah, I think he'd be a good ad, and he shouldn't really cost too much, not too many years. If anything, he'd be a good transition piece. Uh, you know, for to set up the next guy. The next guy coming up
Right.
or the next whatever that we get. Um,
Hmm.
so there's so many things that they could do, so many things out there. Um, they and with the things that they have done so far, you can't really complain because we're either signing them dirt cheap or they're minor league options. They're minor league signings, so they're not adding to the 40 yard or 40 yard 40 man roster. Like you mentioned, Johan Ramirez. I see him as he's the sinker baller, right hander. He's tough on righties. He's the guy that gets you out of. If you got a few runners on and you need a double play, he's the guy you bring in.
Yeah.
Um, so he could be good. His ERA isn't great, but sometimes the ERAs are a little misleading when it comes to relievers. If you have like one or two bad outings, really will blow your ERA up. Um,
How
but
much
from
of a
what I've
pain
seen
is
of
it
him,
to face a sinker baller?
oh, it sucks. I mean, especially if they're on. Think about Familia when he was on.
Right.
Everything just drops. It's just
Right. Hammer.
yeah. You just they induce a lot of ground balls, and it's just frustrating to
Hmm.
face. Um, so we'll see. They're piecing
They have a
together.
solid infield, so
Yeah, yeah. Defensively, we should. Depending on who's at third, we should have a decent infield defense.
JT
Uh,
maybe, man.
well, I mean, even if he came to the team, I don't think he'd see much infield time. Because I
Yeah.
think he only played like 7 games at third last year, so I think he's really on the tail end. He's just posting up and he's just throwing his
I
throwing the
think
bat.
I remember last year when we played the Dodgers. Of course, he made a great play at third because he's playing against us, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
But I can remember,
yeah. Any former players are gonna destroy us, and
kills
that's
us.
that's 10 times out of 10.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they
It's
haven't
a
played
given.
in they haven't played in 6 months. First game back, they're playing us 4 for 4,
Yeah,
best game of the year.
I think Gary he always like calls it too before it happens. I'm like, oh my, it's gonna happen. He said it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, moving forward, uh, there's a lot. There's a lot that I'm hoping that they do. I feel like we're. I feel like we're at a crossroads of what they're actually going to do. It's a little frustrating sometimes. Just I feel like they should have been set up for this already. So now I think the ball should start rolling. Things should start happening. So I'm hoping by our next show that we have a few names to talk about. I feel like our lineup should be a little bit more clear because right now I don't think they're anywhere close to fielding a competitive team the way they looks right now. And they have to consider we're in the NL East. Like the Marlins are tough, the Phillies are tough, the Braves are very tough.
Everyone
We
stepped it
can't be
up.
getting smacked. Yeah, we can't be getting smacked every
No.
every other week to these
Yeah.
teams. So
No, you're right.
I'm just hoping for at least one, two, three, back to back to back. Just start knocking them out.
They
Major league
they did it
signings.
backwards. Yeah, they it seems like they from the ground up, the depth pieces, like you said before, they you do that after you sign your big names, but we did it first. So I mean, hopefully that's what the plan is because if not, it's pretty scary, man. Like the first year of Stearns and all the hype with him, and so far it's not as advertised. He does give feels that he's coming from a Midwest, small small town team, and that's how he's running us now. It's,
Yeah.
that's what it seems that.
Yeah. I can't knock the deals that he's done. I think they're all have been good, but I'm knocking the deals that he hasn't done. Uh, I
Right,
don't
right,
think
right.
he's done enough on the big league level. You know, all these guys, a lot of them are minor league they're not even major league fringe minor league. They're minor leaguers who have played in the majors some, but they're mainly minor leaguers. So I think there's a lot that needs to be added still. I think the Hauser and Taylor deal was really, really good, especially
Yeah,
what
that
we
was an
gave up.
Escobar trade.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great move.
Yeah,
You
especially
know.
you consider
Yeah.
that the guy just had Tommy John in July.
So he's good now for a few years.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
the guy. Well, I'm saying the guy we traded just had Tommy John in
Oh,
July.
Crow. You
So
meant Crow? Okay, gotcha.
yeah, yeah. So he's not going to be pitching for the Brewers for until 2025 at the earliest.
Right.
Um, so we got two players that are going to impact the team right away.
Right away.
Um,
Hmm.
so that's good, but more of that would be great. And then like we said, that just filling out the lineup to field of at least a major league level team, I think needs to happen sooner than later. Especially after
Yeah.
missing Yamamoto, the fan base is down right now. You
We're
know,
getting antsy, man. We need his. This guy signed Yelich. People forget that he signed Yelich in Milwaukee. So I'm not. I don't expect a big move like that to happen. But come on, man.
yeah. I mean, who knows? It looks like he likes dealing with Milwaukee, so he might trade for Yelich or something.
That's a bad contract.
It is a bad contract. I mean,
But
we
for
need a left
Burns,
fielder.
yeah, true. And I mean, Burns would be lovely. But what sucks about Burns is he's a free agent next year, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, he already said that he's not trading for any rentals
Yeah, I don't want that either.
unless they did a thing like the Dodgers did, where they wouldn't do the trade unless they can sign him an extension.
Guarantee.
But
That'd be clutch.
yeah, but it
Imagine Burns on this rotation.
I would love him on our rotation.
He's a dog. That guy.
he is. He's a bulldog. He's a thick body. He's built to go out there every fifth day.
Yeah. Yeah. He got
Um,
thread.
yeah, yeah. So he's another
Yeah.
one that's out there in the market next year. So I think that's why us as Mets fans shouldn't feel too down about missing out because there's so much out there next year.
And one last time, I'll bring up Yama, to be honest, because you just said, let's not feel down. That deal was insane for a pitcher
Yeah,
that hasn't pitched once in our baseball. That's insane. I mean, the
yeah,
guy, yeah, I don't want to be negative, but the risk is massive.
yeah,
And out of the 12 years that he has, if he gives you 5 solid years, okay. I mean, you take that. But the way that guy, I mean, have you seen videos of him? He throws gas, man.
yeah,
He's a small guy. He's like a Tim Lincecum. I don't see that guy lasting nowhere near those 12 years
yeah.
at all.
Well, it's funny you say that. A lot of Japanese pitchers when they come over long term, their health doesn't stay the same. It does they don't stay healthy like they did in Japan
Yeah,
because our training is so different over here and our workload is very different. So it'll
it's
be
taxing
interesting to
more here.
see. Yeah, and I think our just traveling is so much more
Yeah,
taxing on the body. Is sitting in a plane or a bus for hours is not great, especially after you just threw 100 pitches.
they
The
pitch
last thing you
indoors
want to
over there
do is
too a lot,
be.
right?
Yeah, a lot of the stadiums are indoors. Yeah,
No wonder he wanted LA.
yeah. I mean, I can't blame him.
Yep.
That is, weather wise, it's nice over
Hmm.
there, and
Yeah,
he's close to home.
right.
But
It is where it is, man.
yep. So I think that's that covers most of I think what has happened over the past few weeks. Um, I think we're pretty much in the same predicament that we have been in for the past since the offseason started. Still a lot to address. Still a lot of holes in the rotation. Still a lot of holes in the pitching staff and the relievers. Still huge holes in the lineup. So I'm excited and nervous to see what they're gonna do because uh, like you mentioned, Stearns really has to show what kind of leader he's going to be building this team moving forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The
do
jury's
you
still
have
out.
any predictions for our next signing? What do you think we're
I
we're,
think it's going to
we're
be a
addressing?
Giolito type.
Yeah, I could see us signing Giolito or signing a DH. Um, I think that'll be our next move. I definitely think the pitcher will probably be the next move since we just struck out on Yamamoto. I
Yeah,
think they probably had
that's
the
paramount right now.
I think they had the plan B ready to go. Hopefully,
Hmm.
so hopefully by
Hopefully.
Christmas we could have something something signed and locked away.
Jeez.
All right, so our next one will be after Christmas. We're looking for Tuesday or Wednesday, and hopefully we have some new updates, new signings, new lineup, new something, new news, because we've pretty much have been
Something, anything.
yeah
Please.
we've been flirting around with the same thing pretty much this whole off season. So until next time,
Let's go Mets.
all right.